They asked AOC, I don't know if you saw that when they asked AOC and she didn't want to answer the questions. Like, hey, so what do you think about, Tyler, do you have that story here as
Biden
one of them?
running again.
Yeah, hey, do you think if Biden ran again?
Oh, she equivocated.
Yeah,
right?
she's like, well, listen,
Bottom
right
of
now,
4.
the only thing, you said page number 4?
Bottom of 4.
Bottom of 4. Okay, so, hey, if Biden ran, would you support Biden? And she's like, she's like, well, what we first need to do is Ocasio-Cortez won't commit to backing Biden in 2024. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it, CNN. I think if the president has a vision, then that's something certainly we're willing to entertain and examine when the time comes. A Democrat who wields significant amount of influence over the party's progressive wing told CNN Dana Bash on State of the Union when asked if she plans to support Biden in the 2024 election. And that's not a yes, Bash said, to which the Congresswoman replied, we should endorse when we get to it, but I believe that the president's been doing a very good job so far. And, should he run again, I think that I think we'll take a look at it. But right now we need to focus on winning the majority instead of presidential election. So, in other words, that's a professional way of avoiding the answering the question. So that's what happens when you're in that business for a while. But people on both sides are sitting there saying this guy is the least popular president we've ever had with polls. So, if you're going to use polls when you're winning, you also ought to use polls when you're losing. And it's not in a good situation. So I think the middle's running America right now. Mm-hmm. And if there is a party that's recruiting the most people today, I think it's the middle. I don't think it's the left. I don't think it's the right. I think it's the middle.
Can I bring in some more psychology?
Sure.
So
I feel like I should pay you for this. I'm getting a whole full-on mental breakdown right here.
So I want you to imagine this as the cork of a wine bottle. Okay, I've explained this previously, but it's worth repeating. So there's an expression in Arabic. Arabic is my mother tongue. So there's an expression in Arabic that basically says, getting drunk simply by smelling the cork of the wine bottle, which basically refers to when someone is so weak in his constituency that they don't need to actually drink the wine to get drunk. They simply whiff it and they're already drunk. Now, how do we apply this to psychological processes? So look, now I'm going to drink from the Obama cork, right? Oh my God, he is so tall and lanky and he has a mellifluous voice and he speaks with the cadence of a Baptist minister. Now, every single syllable that he utters is pure, empty, vacuous bullshit. But my God, I'm getting drunk by the Obama cork, right? On the other hand, I'm going to now smell the cork of Trump. He's disgusting. He's an ogre, right? He speaks like a brash brawler from the Bronx, right? In both of those cases, when I got drunk, I never said anything of substance. I didn't say I like Obama because of his fiscal policy. I hate Trump because of his immigration policy. What I'm using are peripheral cues, meaning cues that don't really matter to base my decision on, right? One is presidential looking and acting. The other one is brash and an ogre. That's the problem with the psychology of voters, and that is that instead of activating their cognitive system, here are the 7 reasons, the substantive reasons why I love Biden or Trump. Most of the populace doesn't do that. Mm-hmm. They base peripheral cues, and that's why we end up with people voting for Biden, even though on every single position they might prefer Trump. I know a lot of my colleagues who, when I challenge them on why did you vote for Trudeau, or right, they could never enunciate a position. He looked young, he looked youthful, he was handsome, he had a young family. Bullshit, 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 right? None of these reasons should be valid reasons for why you should vote for him. But yet, that's why what happens, we get intoxicated by smelling the cork. So,
but you're giving the personality versus policy debate.
Exactly right.
But a lot of people do vote based on personality.
Exactly. So it's not based on policy, you're saying, right?
Right.
But isn't that sad, right? I mean,
I don't think a lot of people are smart enough to break down policy by policy. And that's not a knock on the American voter. I think most people just vote with their pocketbook. As James Carville said, we brought up yesterday, it's the economy, stupid. Clearly, people are not happy with the economy right now. But a lot of times people will just look on screen and just say, yeah, I like that guy.
Exactly.
Or, nah, I don't like the way they talk. I'm into it, or I'm not into that.
What's more important, that or winning the middle? Is it that or winning the middle? Because I think the average voter does that. But the middle voter is sitting there, the independent voter, the guys in the middle, the independent, the libertarian, those guys are sitting there saying they have, okay, so the pendulum of being able to reason, okay? Whoever can reason the most leads the country, okay? The complainers are the loudest. So they seem to be the biggest party. And the complainers tend to recruit a lot of the people that are kind of like, oh my God, so that's what's going on? Okay. So the complainers recruit the naive. But the complainers cannot recruit the reasonable people that know how to reason. The people that are in the middle that are able to reason and they eventually have enough of a voice, you sit there and you say, okay, this guy makes sense. Yeah, I agree with them. You know what? Yeah, that's what I'm going to vote for. Rogan. Okay, again, goes back to Bill Maher, the conversation we had briefly yesterday. I think the currency, again, this you're going to hear me saying this a lot. I think the currency of reasoning is becoming very valuable today. Not sensationalism, not crying, complaining, all of that stuff. Crying, complaining has been a very hot commodity the last 10, 20 years, especially the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years, right? But you're going to see the ability to reason become valuable again. This sounds weird for where people should say, well, this should have been valuable for a long time. No. When social media came out, complainers got a hot mic. And complainers got a chance to go out there and blow up.
Yeah.
And complainers became celebrities. AOC is a queen of complainers, and look what happened to her. That was a hot commodity, right? Through a lot of complaining, she got a lot of eyeballs, and she got people to say, yeah, that's exactly right. And then people are like, you just cost New York City 25,000 jobs at $150,000 your salary.
That's the Amazon thing?
And
Yeah.
Amazon went elsewhere. So your complaining just cost us 25,000 good jobs. Yes, but if Amazon would have came, your rent would have gone up. Of course. Do you want those $150,000 your jobs? No, they should go elsewhere. Other cities are like, dude, Amazon, we will gladly take you, buddy.
They had a bidding war.
Bring those jobs to us. We'll take it. So it's becoming sexy again to reason. Those who can reason, people are finding it very, very attractive, and that's generally the people in the middle.
Well, and I think if I can speak about, the platform that guys like Jordan and I have been able to build, I mean, I could have never imagined that 10, 15 years ago, I could ever have the type of platform that would have been reserved for, rock stars and actors and so on, right? So I think, to your point, I think there is, in the middle, the silent majority are starving for commonsensical people who come and actually say exactly what they're thinking. This is why, by the way, notwithstanding what you're talking about, the academy, I agree with having those programs. If we can just instill the courage in the silent majority to speak out, already the battle will be won. This is why I talk about activate your inner honey badger, right? Because I receive 1 million emails every week from people who say, I'm on your side. And they're corrections officers and they're truck drivers and they're fancy professors. But for whatever reason, they have this impediment whereby they're scared to speak their mind. They actually overestimate the risk. I understand that you could be canceled. You could be fired.
Overestimate the risk, not underestimate. So they think it's going to be worse than it's actually going to be.
Exactly. So, for example, the administrators at the university who are beholden to the few loud activists, why are you always acquiescing to them? Like, why is it that you are always catering your policies to the 10 people who are the most committed activists?
Or the corporations, too.
Right, exactly. The corporations do the same thing. They think as though, Disney is going to completely, fall apart if we don't have ultra woke stuff. So you overestimate the risks from the woke, when in reality, look, I'm still standing. I don't want to jinx it, but apparently I'm uncancelable. I truly am like the Teflon King. Well, I don't think it's because there's a magic recipe. It's simply because I don't care. I'm not so afraid of it. Now, you might come along and say, oh, but that's because you're tenured. Therefore, you're not afraid to lose your job. But listen, when I get 1 million death threats where I have to walk in on campus with security, tenure didn't protect me there, right? So when I almost got an anxiety attack because I don't know who's going to come at me, we had to file a police report with the Montreal police at my university because of the number of death threats. But I walk around like a honey badger. I'm not trying to toot my horn, but look, it's better to live 5 minutes with integrity than 500 years as a coward, right? And so a lot of people...
Who's that, William Wallace?
Is that true?
I don't know. That sounds like him.
I just came up with it from the top of my head. But I guess many people have had similar
But the
thoughts.
honey badger takes what he wants.
The honey badger does. I mean, for those of you who don't know, who are listening to the show, the honey badger has been ranked as the fiercest animal in the world. It's the size of a small dog, and yet it could withstand the attack of 6 adult lions. The reason why I say 6 is because you could probably go on YouTube now and see the clip that
I've
I'm
seen
thinking,
these videos.
right? Where
Crazy.
there are literally 6 adult lions that are intimidated by this one honey badger. Why? Because it's fierce. So be ideologically fierce. If you've got a position that you think is worthwhile, standing on, don't cower away. Don't be a little punk. There you go. There you go.
Yeah, this guy's a badass.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.